Vikings, let's win the game.
Vikings fans, buckle up because the temperature just jumped like a fourth quarter comeback drive. There is a massive call hanging over one of the biggest figures in this building. J.J. McCarthy is staring straight at a moment that feels like standing on thin ice. Jordan Addison just got put under a spotlight and did not stay quiet. And there is a contract situation brewing that could ripple through that locker room like a shockwave. This is not background noise. This is front and center, and we are diving into all of it right now. Something inside this organization is getting tighter than a playoff game clock, and it has nothing to do with what happens between the lines. It is about a life decision that could reshape this team in 2026. So here is where it starts. Harrison Smith still has not made up his mind about coming back next season, and that is not a footnote. That is the spine of this defense. We are talking about a player who has been the compass for this unit for years. And even now, at 37, he was still out there holding his ground. Was it flawless? No. The grades tell that story. Around 68 overall, about 69 in coverage, and a dip against the run. But still, 2 picks, 3 pass breakups, and over 40 solo tackles. That is not someone running on fumes. Not even close. What really stands out is how the team is handling it. Kevin O'Connell basically stepped back and said, take your time, live your life, figure it out. No pressure at all. That tells you exactly how much respect Smith has earned in that building. But here is the flip side. It leaves a gap hanging in the air. How do you map out a season when your defensive quarterback might not even be there? That is like trying to build a house without knowing if the foundation shows up. And here is something people do not say enough. This is not just about physical wear. It is mental fatigue. Smith himself has said the hardest part now is not Sundays. It is everything leading up to them. The grind, the preparation, the body asking for more every week. That hits different. Now, there are voices around the team who believe he is coming back. Alec Lewis even projected him for 2026. That is not random smoke. There is a feeling he might want one more ride. And if he does, it will not be ceremonial. It will be about chasing something real. That is why this decision carries so much weight. But if he walks away, you are not just replacing a player. You are losing instincts, leadership, and experience you cannot just go shopping for. I need to hear you on this. Does Harrison Smith have one more run left, or has he already emptied the tank? Drop your thoughts in the comments because this one is splitting the fan base down the middle. And stay with me because what is coming next flips the entire offensive conversation. Hey, real quick before we keep rolling, tap that subscribe button and jump into the comment section with us. This community runs on your voice, so do not stay quiet. You can feel the pressure building in this offense like steam inside a sealed room, and it is not subtle anymore. It is the kind of tension that feels like it could snap at any second, and everybody in that locker room knows it. Let us call it what it is. J.J. McCarthy is staring at the biggest moment of his career so far. No exaggeration, everything shifted fast. The arrival of Kyler Murray was not just another move. It cast a long shadow over McCarthy. Even with the open competition talk floating around, the real message landed loud and clear. And then came the part that hits hard. Justin Jefferson did not dance around it. He said it straight. McCarthy has to elevate his game, because with someone like Murray in the room, you either respond right now, or you fade into the background again. That is a punch to the chest, and you cannot ignore what came before either. McCarthy's path has been rocky. Injuries, inconsistency, uneven production. In 2025, he threw for 1,632 yards, 11 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, and did not even hit 60% completions. That is not how you lock down a starting job in this league. But here is the twist. Jefferson has not turned his back on him. Not at all. They have been grinding together this offseason, sharpening timing, routes, reads, the small stuff that makes the difference. That matters. When your best player is still investing in you, there is still a door open. It is not wide, but it is not closed either. Now I am going to be real with you. McCarthy has not yet proven he can hold this job when everything is on the line. That is the truth. The talent is there, no doubt. Arm strength, mobility, flashes of vision. But in the NFL, talent without consistency is like a car with no engine. It does not take you anywhere. And right now, there is no patience left for slow progress. No cushion for mistakes. It is about delivering immediately. Jefferson even mentioned growth. More confidence, better understanding, improved timing. But that has to show up on Sundays. Practice does not move the scoreboard. And let us not forget, the environment around him has been chaotic. Changes at quarterback, changes in system, instability across the board. That slows anybody down. But now, those excuses are gone. He either steps up or the team pivots. That is the reality. And it is creating real tension inside this offense, because the talent is there across the board. But everything hinges on who is driving it, and that decision might not be as open as it is being sold. So let me ask you, do you still believe McCarthy can be the guy, or does this story feel like it is reaching its breaking point? Because what is coming next brings another offensive name into the spotlight. There is a player in this offense who used to be seen as the supporting act, but now he is standing in the center of the stage with the lights turned all the way up, and that name is Jordan Addison. The Vikings picked up his fifth-year option, locking him in through 2027. That tells you they believe in his ability, but it also tells you the final verdict is still pending. Because keeping someone around is one thing, betting big on them long-term is a completely different game. Kevin O'Connell made it clear how the team views him. He called Addison one of the best number 2 receivers in the league, and let us be honest, lining up next to Justin Jefferson is not a background role. That is like being the co-pilot on a jet that needs precision every second. But with that respect came expectations. O'Connell talked about growth beyond the field, about maturity, about understanding where he is in his career. That does not come out of thin air. That comes from moments that made the team question long-term trust. Then you look at the numbers, and last season was not his strongest. 42 catches, 610 yards, 3 touchdowns, 14.5 per catch. Solid, but not game-changing. And then the 7 drops. That stings, especially for a player who needs to be reliable. Now, yes, the quarterback instability played a role. That is real, but it does not explain everything. Because when you are chasing a big contract, you have to produce no matter what. That is where it gets uncomfortable. And here is where the heat really turns up. Chip Scoggins said it straight. This is Addison's prove-it year, the contract year, the moment to show he deserves a major investment. And here is the reality. People do not always say out loud. These decisions are not just about talent. It is about consistency, behavior, trust inside that locker room. The ability is already there. That is not the question. The question is whether he is the kind of player you pay big money and trust every single Sunday. And that is still up in the air. Some fans see a breakout coming. Others are starting to hesitate. And that divide is real because the ceiling is high, but the floor is not stabilized. So let me throw it to you. Would you lock Addison into a long-term deal today, or would you wait another season? Drop your take in the comments because that decision says everything about where this offense is headed. And coming up next, this shifts from performance to money, tension, and a situation that could flip into a trade at any moment. Now we step into deeper waters, because this is no longer just about production. This is about contracts, leverage, timing, and a situation that is starting to spill into the open. The name here is Jonathan Greenard. And without saying a word, he sent a message loud enough for everyone to hear. He did not show up for voluntary workouts. And in this league, that is not subtle. That is negotiation pressure. That is saying, it is time to talk. This has been building. Greenard wants to be paid like a top-tier pass rusher. The Vikings do not seem ready to match that urgency. So now you have a standoff, like two sides staring each other down across the table. Kevin O'Connell tried to keep things calm, saying he understands the business side, that these situations happen. But when a key player is absent, it changes the energy. It impacts the room. And this is not just any player. Even after a down year with only 3 sacks, his influence goes beyond numbers. He disrupts quarterbacks, holds his ground against the run. He forces offenses to adjust. But you cannot ignore the other side. In 2024, he had 12 sacks. In 2025, that number dropped hard. So what are you paying for? The peak or the dip? That is the tension sitting right there. And let me be real. Situations like this rarely stay quiet if they are not resolved fast. They turn into distractions. They become background noise that grows louder every day. And it does not stop there. His name is already floating in trade conversations. The Eagles are watching closely. They have checked in. And the asking price? A high day 2 pick. That is serious. So the picture is clear. Either the Vikings adjust the deal, or they start thinking about moving him. And that changes everything. Because if he is gone, Dallas Turner steps into a much bigger role. And now you are asking a developing player to carry a heavier load. Then there is the salary cap reality. This team does not have endless room to hand out big contracts. But at the same time, losing a pass rusher like that hits you on the field. So it becomes a balancing act, like walking a tightrope with no safety net. Pay him and keep the core, or move him and reset. And this needs to be decided fast. The draft is right there, and moves like this shape everything that comes next. So let me ask you, are you paying what he wants, or are you taking calls right now? because what is coming next might look lighter, but it carries a deeper message about the future of the biggest name on this team. Take a closer look at this one, because on the surface it feels like just another off-field project, something light, something promotional. But if you zoom in, there is a message underneath it, and it revolves around Justin Jefferson. He was part of a campaign with United States women's national flag football quarterback Isabella "Izzy" Geraci. They are out there coaching kids, connecting, pushing that sense of unity and community. It is all tied to U.S. Bank, now officially partnered with the NFL. Sounds normal, right? But there is more layered into this. This is not a small campaign. It spans multiple platforms. It is directly connected to the league. It ties into the Vikings stadium branding. That is not random placement. Not every player gets that kind of spotlight. And here is what stands out. Jefferson is still the face of this franchise. Through all the uncertainty, through all the questions at quarterback, through all the rumors, he is still front and center. That sends a signal whether people want to admit it or not. And here is a detail many missed. He is not alone in this campaign. Fernando Mendoza is part of it too, a name projected as a possible #1 overall pick in the 2026 draft for the Raiders. Think about that contrast. An established superstar next to a potential future face of the league. That is not coincidence. That is positioning. That is storytelling within the NFL ecosystem. And I will tell you this. When a player like Jefferson is placed this tightly within the team and league structure, it is hard to believe there is not a bigger picture behind it. It is not confirmation of anything, but it is not meaningless either. Meanwhile, on the field, questions remain. The quarterback situation is unsettled. The offense is still searching for rhythm. But off the field, Jefferson is still treated like the centerpiece. And that matters. It influences decisions. It shapes how this roster is built. It even frames the long-term direction. So here is the question. Does this make you feel confident he is staying as the face of the Vikings for years to come? Or does it still feel like something major could shift? Because when you step back, this is not just random news. This is a moment taking shape. When you step back and connect all of this, it feels like the Vikings are standing at a crossroads where every path matters. A veteran leader is deciding if he has one more battle left. A young quarterback is being pushed to the edge. A receiver is fighting to prove he is worth the investment. A contract situation is teetering on the edge of turning into a trade. And right in the middle of it all, the biggest name on the team continues to anchor everything on and off the field. None of these stories live in isolation. This is not just headlines stacked together. This is a snapshot of a franchise in transition. And moments like this, they shape the future. You either make the right calls or you feel it for years. So tell me this. Which situation has you the most concerned right now? Drop it in the comments because this space belongs to everybody who lives and breathes Vikings football. Stay tuned. SKOL Vikings, let's go!